Welcome to episode 66 of Instant Expertise Marketing. Thank you for listening in. If you've followed us for a while, you know that we are big believers in getting the most out of the assets you have, whether it's IP rights, leftover premiums, or even high-value content. And while we've spoken in the past about how to repurpose assets, today I'm going to share 8 ways to repurpose assets to speak specifically to your ABM audiences. I'm Yvette Brown, co-founder of X Promos. I became an entrepreneur at 23 by starting a promotions agency with my then 29-year-old business partner, Sherry Nomadi. And normally, this is where Sherry chimes in, but today I am flying solo, so let's get right to it. If you're already running some kind of ABM program, and the vast majority of B2B businesses are, you probably have already realized that it's not enough just to have an ABM platform subscription, new technology, and a targeted account list. You've got to create many touch points, from personalized and retargeted ads and emails to calls, voicemails, and LinkedIn messages. And you've got to be delivering value with each touch. Value that's customized and relevant to that prospect, because that's really the key to ABM. It works to send cold emails and phone calls when the information is relevant and valuable to the person you're trying to get in touch with. Of course, you probably don't have the budget or bandwidth to create meaningful, completely customized content and messaging for every ABM prospect. Now, your one-to-one, top-of-the-pyramid ABM prospects might get that kind of personalization, but what about those bottom 2 levels, the one-to-fews and the one-to-manys? You can't ignore those bottom 2 levels, as the data consistently shows that the best-performing ABM programs address all 3 levels. You can, however, take what you know about what those levels have in common, and you can address those commonalities through customized content. These might be commonalities like industry, business size or type, or even departments or seniority levels. And you can even address pain points. Of course, that's a huge one as well. You can easily segment these audiences within your ICP in most ABM software programs. Now, many organizations already have a treasure trove of valuable content that they've invested in creating, whether it's white papers, analyst reports, or their own research reports. The secret lies in being able to strip down what's important to your ABM audience from those valuable assets and then delivering those juicy tidbits to prospects to move them along in the customer journey. But before I share today's big 8 ideas, I wanted to touch on an obvious consideration that can quickly multiply your content assets. And this actually applies to both ABM and general market. Please create your content in different formats. That may seem obvious today, as certainly more and more companies, and you might be one of them, is already slicing and dicing single videos into reels, into clips and posts. But you can do way more than just make social posts. If you create your core content once, you want to distribute it in multiple formats. Why? Because everyone learns and responds differently. Some people are visual, some are auditory, others like to read, and still others will respond to graphic presentations. You need to drip out your content in different formats so that basically one of those approaches will resonate with your target. So with that in mind, here we go. Here's 8 ways to create semi-custom content that feels custom to ABM audiences. Number 1. Create a personalized email campaign based on your white paper. Go ahead and take 3 or 4 touches to address the insights in your white paper that matter the most to your ABM prospects and are most relevant to that segment of your ICP. It's okay to drop those out and draw them out of that report and even attach or reference a link to that report a couple times. It's okay. As you address those different points, they will see the relevance for them. Number 2, case studies. Now, we all love our case studies, but our prospects really only care about the ones that basically match their problem exactly. And that's really hard to do, depending on the nature of your business. So unless you have an example of how you've helped their biggest competitor, and if you do, by all means, go for it, the onus is really on you to clearly draw the parallels to their problems. You must be the one to highlight in the communication how this specific case study addresses a specific pain point or problem that your audience has. And you basically figure that out based on what you know about that segment. Number 3, customized presentations. This is where you take your white paper or your research report and you create an executive summary slide deck. These executive summary slide decks can be even further customized by seniority or department, kind of like as I mentioned at the beginning of this section. But this is really a way to get to the point of what's most important about your white paper or research report in a way that executives are used to consuming information. If you want to level that up, you'd make a customized video. So again, you don't have to overinvest, but you can take that same slide deck and you can add a voiceover. You can add a Loom video that sort of walks them through it, or you can create a simple explainer video. You could even have an executive from your team do a short talking head video that addresses the summary points of greatest interest to your ICP segment. But remember that you're going to have to create versions to make it meaningful and customized. Number 5, personalized landing pages. If you're an enterprise business closing one-to-one accounts, you probably have already or possibly already invested in, one-to-one landing pages. So you already may have those. The key here is to add your white paper or your report to those landing pages by highlighting the points in those that are most relevant to that audience, to that one-to-one audience in this case, right? Again, you have to show them why specifically what you're pointing out, and that insight matters to their business at this point in time. Number 6 is one of my favorites. It's direct mail touch points. One of the reasons it's one of my favorites is because in the old days, direct mail had sort of went to, used to be considered junk mail, right? It was annoying to have in your mailbox and all of that. But now in the digital age, it's sort of become a breakthrough the clutter solution that we hadn't seen before. And somehow how that sort of made that 180 is interesting. But to make your direct mail effective, it's got to be small. Whatever you're sending, it needs to be clever, and it should really importantly reinforce a salient point from your white paper or your research report. For instance, we once sent mini drones to high-value prospects, right? Back when drones were just sort of coming into popularity, because the idea of a drone reflected a key point of the solution we were promoting. And that was basically that business intelligence allows you to zoom out and see knowledge from a different perspective. The drone fit really well that narrative, and we were able to give these one-to-one prospects a nice little toy that they could keep for themselves or share with a loved one. So that worked really well to get attention, which was sort of the point of the touch point. Number 7 is a mini demo. And what we mean by this is, depending on your white paper, you might be able to create a short demo recording for your ABM audience that specifically demonstrates precisely how your solution could work for a prospect so that they could enjoy whatever the white paper shows. So like if your white paper is saying, hey, automation, increases this by 25%, You can follow that up with the short demo that says, let me show you exactly how that might work in this type of organization or an organization like yours. And it's a short kind of clip of how your product works, and they can sort of see exactly how that might fit in their business. And lastly, number 8, customize webinars. If your white paper or research report contains rich insights, great stats, and the types of things that executives like to see, go ahead and repurpose that core content into a customized webinar. And basically, you want to customize it like we talked about for ABM segments. If the guts are literally the same and they don't really vary, you may have the opportunity to just do a customized intro and a close, and then send that to the different segments as, that may be customized enough. You really need to see how that works with your audience. But that's a lot easier than starting from scratch and creating a custom webinar. So, in the end, the more of these tactics that you can employ, the more diverse your touch points will be for your audience, which all, have their own approach of how they like to consume information and what's important and all of that. And this is all coming from the same solid content that your organization paid to create, really valuable insights that your audience would care about. So we want everybody to get out there and start customizing those ABM messages. Now is definitely the time to do more with less and use the assets you have to their greatest capability. Thanks for listening in today. Make sure that you're subscribed to our channel to get alerts when we drop new content, and look for the subscription details in the show notes to make sure that you can get access to a deeper dive on all of the marketing content that we share.